Hi, I'm Mark. Welcome back to Foothill Paint Fabrication. Well, we're going to jump right in to take care of Ruby's transmission tunnel today. I had already done a little bit of work. I went out to the donor car and cut out most of the transmission tunnel. Spent 3 hours cleaning it up, getting it all ready, and trying to figure out how much I was going to need. And then the stamped shifter hump that I had ordered showed up way early, luckily, because it's going to save me a ton of work. I was going to repair a whole bunch of stuff that little stamp piece is actually going to, basically replace. So that's a really good thing. That's a blessing. So let's go ahead and jump in. I'll show you kind of what I did, and we're going to figure out how much we need to replace that's already there and how much we can save. We will not be installing the shifter hump right now because I want to position that once the transmission's in, just in case we need to move it around or adjust it a little bit. We'll be able to do that a lot easier before it's welded in. So let's climb in the car, take a look at what we got going on, and get to work. Four speeds were the hot ticket back in the day, so everybody that didn't get one, I guess they hacked a hole in their floorboard. So you can see a patch right here. I'm pretty sure I'm the one that pop riveted that on there to kind of seal this up. So you can see right here, it's cut up pretty good. There's some spots here and stuff, but that complete piece came off the donor car. You can see where I cut the spot welds up on, right at the seam. And I spent quite a few hours cleaning that thing up, and we probably won't need much of it. I think we'll use the spot that's all janky up there, but we'll see. We have to get my patch ground off on that one. And here is the shifter hump that I ordered. I think that was from National Parts Depot, I'm not sure, but it came in really quick, so really happy to get that. And then, of course, here is my gas welded coat hanger job when I was a kid. So I think the first thing we need to do is go ahead and cut all those welds, get that sheet metal patch off there, see how the shifter hump fits, and try to hammer some stuff around. And I think we need a patch panel right over here. I think that's just too far gone. All right, I was just looking at my teenage gas welding job, and boy, I got carried away. That thing's on there pretty good, so it's going to take a minute to cut it off. So I'm going to crawl on in and get after that. I don't like being in the car and put more weight with it just supported on each end. So I do put jack stands up underneath there. The problem is, they're not adjustable. I mean, they're adjustable, but not fine. So I have to block it and mess around for 10 minutes trying to get it the right height. So I think the next video, we are going to make some infinitely adjustable jack stands. I think I'll use those old janky ones right there, and we'll make another shop-made tool. But right now, I'm going to go ahead and crawl in here and see if I can cut some of my welds. All right, so the patch goes right here, up over here, stops, and then starts up again here. There's a lot of gas welding right here. This was all split wide open, as I recall, and there are just a ton of hammer marks on there. So I think we're gonna end up replacing that, but let's get this cut off first. Well, I got most of it off. Got a little bit left here that I full welded, and it's pretty bad right here, so I don't think it's worth messing with. And we got a little piece right here we need to kind of just grind off because it seems to be full penetration. There was a crack or something there, so I'll go ahead and get that off camera. But we're not looking horrible Pretty bad over here where they just cut and just peeled it back. Over here it's not the right shape. I know that for sure, but this area right here is not bad, and this area right here is not bad. So let me go ahead and finish cleaning all this up the best I can off camera, and I'll bring you right back, and then we're going to probably do some hammering just to see what we can straighten out, grind some of these welds down, and then we'll have somewhere to start from. All right, we've got it hammered out pretty good. Got this reshaped, had to clean up over here pretty good. This is still a little beat up right here on both of the patch and this car where the drive line, the U-joint came up and banged into the transmission tunnel. These cars tend to break motor mounts because they're high torque, heavy cars, and it causes things to jump around. So we're going to have to smooth that out a little better. But we did pretty good all the way around here. I didn't mess with this over here because I'm pretty sure we're going to be cutting that out. But if we put the shifter hump in here and we slide it forward, see it's supposed to drop right down inside here, go right down in here. So it's kind of telling me where it's supposed to go. Not that I know it's exactly going to go there, but you can tell we are looking pretty good along here. So that's not bad. So I think we're going to be fine. We're going to end up trimming that when we weld this in permanently. And I have a little more sheet metal work to do here, but then I can get my finger in right there. It's pretty beat up right here, as you can tell. And similar thing back here. I can get 2 fingers in back here. Actually, well, 4 fingers I can get it back there, so it's pretty bad. So I think I'm just going to take a Sharpie, and I'm going to figure out where this goes, and I'm just going to trace around it and figure out you know, what's good, what's bad, and then what we need to replace. Okay, we got a Sharpie drawn around so we can see the area that we will not need when we're all done. And sitting here looking at this, how smooth this cut is and the shape and everything. Ruby, I'm confident Ruby was a factory 4-speed car. Now when I bought this car when I was very young, 19 I think, or 20, I think I was 19, there was a big block 396 Chevy engine in it, and it had automatic, and I'm thinking it was a turbo 350. So that's why they hacked this up trying to make that fit, and then I tried to repair it to, you know, put a Muncie back in it. So this one over here off the donor car was a true automatic car, and this was completely enclosed, and when I got the car it already had a 4-speed in it, and somebody, you know, hacked it up pretty good to try to get the shifter through there. This shape is actually slightly different than that shape, but I'm pretty confident up here it's the exact same shape. So I do have sheet metal to go ahead and cut and, you know, put a patch in there. But I think right off the bat, let's just go ahead and start hammering this area right here. See if we can hammer that out smooth. It's got a lot of welds because they made cuts and just peeled it back, you know, before to make it fit, and then hit it all with carpet. But yeah, let's hammer this out right here. Get it smoothed out so I can grind some welds, hammer it some more, grind, hammer, grind, sand, and then see how this comes out. And we'll just do one piece at a time. Maybe we can minimize, you know, the patch size that we're going to need to use. Okay, I got that hammered out a little bit, and then I tried to grind the welds, and Teenage Mark did not hammer this very smooth before he welded it. It looks like he just got it close and then just gas welded these seams right here. There's 1, 2, 3 of them. So it's still pretty rough. I had to get the burr tool in here to try to get that weld to thin out so we could hammer it a little bit better. And it's okay. It's not great. I'd like to have it a little bit better. So we're gonna go ahead and try out something I put together. This is a palm nailer. And what I did was I just took a exhaust valve off an old Pontiac head, and I just cut it off, and we're going to stick it in here. The problem is when you push this in, that's when it starts firing, so there's really no control over it. I need a foot pedal, really what I need to, so I can get it and step on the foot pedal to regulate how much air, but I need to get one of those because this thing is kind of all or nothing deal. So I'm going to back it up with a dolly on the back side and kind of use this as a planishing hammer to try to get this smoothed out. It's going to be, I don't know how, it's going to be really loud because we're inside the car. So let's just give it a shot. smoothed it out a little bit. It is pretty violent. It's kind of pushing it in, but we can bring it back up later. Actually had a hole fall out where I was, because I ground it too thin. Alright, just some sharp edges here that we've moved up, so I'm going to resand this again and we'll take a close-up look at it. It's actually feeling pretty good, so let me get some sanding on both sides done and then we'll take a look at it. Alright, it's looking pretty good. Smooth it out pretty nicely. Obviously got a big hole right there. The welds aren't exactly perfect, but hey, it's a floor pan. So I think our next step is, got a little crack here, is weld in these holes, take care of some of this other stuff. You can see my line right here, so we're not going to need, this piece down here, but I want to pinch this together, weld this, get a piece of copper back there. We'll just use the MIG and we'll weld that in, and any other spot where I see light coming through, and then this area will be done, and then we'll take a look at the mess on the other side here. I don't know if we can save it, but we'll give it a shot. All right, we got that welded up and ground smooth. The other side even looks better than this side, and it actually feels really smooth, so that worked out really good. Now we got to move on to this next mess here. So I think we're going to go ahead and just attempt to smooth all this out. I don't know if you guys can see that weld right down in there? So it's buried down into a low spot, so grinding those welds is problematic. So I think what we're going to do is try to get this back to the right shape. And if that palm nailer stays together, it fell apart again after I put it back together. I think it needs Loctite on that part, but we might be able to just smooth this out really nice and not have to weld a patch in. So let me get some hammers. We'll start banging on this thing. All right, we got a weld right here and a weld right here. So it looked like they just cut it right here and bent it out of the way. But we can't grind those yet till we smooth this out a little bit. So got my round-faced hammer right here. I'm going to put a dolly back there, and we're just going to start up here and try to smooth this down. So I'm doing dolly off, so I'm pushing over here, trying to get this dent out right here. This is really a mess. I mean, it's just so beat up, but I don't know. Let's just start hitting. Now do dolly on and try to smooth out some of these wrinkles. That's taking decent shape. I think we need to get this weld on both sides ground. So let me grab the burr tool and try to clean this up a little bit. I'll do that off camera, and then we'll see if we can't grind this a little bit. If we can lessen the thickness of this weld, we might be able to hammer this whole area. Okay, we got it ground down best I can right now. It's really peaked on the other side, so if I try to grind that smooth, it'll just make a big hole right here. So I'm gonna just get the ball peen hammer and hit this. This dolly looks like a pretty good match right here. So I'm just gonna reach through the hole and then whack that side as hard as I can with a ball peen hammer and try to flatten some of this out. Well, that's working. I'm gonna grind a little bit more to try to flatten some of this weld out, and we'll just keep at it, and then we're gonna try to smooth this out. All right, I flipped the car the other way, got the welds pretty well cleaned up. We still have a ways to go, but I was able to get this big chunk that was here. That was a full weld. It was just almost solid weld, so I got it ground down decent. And now we need to try to smooth this radius all the way down to here so until it flattens out. And to do that, this is the tool I made when I was working on the floor pan before, trying to get a radius into it. So it's just on a piece of pipe with a bit in it, and yeah, it should work pretty good. And I'll use this dolly on the other side, just like that, the little curved part of it, and we'll just run it down through here and see if we can't clean that up pretty good. Well, that's working a little bit. We've got a little bit of weld sticking up here that won't hammer flat, but it feels a lot better. That radius comes through here pretty nice. We've got some more grinding to do, but I think we're about ready to get the palm nailer back on here and try to planish this out pretty good. All right, let's see what we can do with our homemade planishing hammer here. That really beats the crap out of you, but it smooths the sheet metal out real nice. We got a few spots that are just too stiff. I think we got some weld right there. Let's see if we can't get a hammer after it. Well, that whole weld just split wide open right now. All right, that did split right along that old weld, and it is pretty jagged. Look at that, what a mess. I don't know if I want to clamp a piece of copper on the backside and try to weld this, or if I want to just basically cut this out and put a patch in there, which I'm thinking is probably the better move. We were trying to avoid putting a patch over here, but you know, I didn't expect that to blow open like that. But we are looking pretty good right here. You know, it's actually smoothing out really nice. So, you know, the patch is a lot smaller than we thought it was going to be when we started. So I'm kind of leaning towards putting a patch in here. Give me a minute to think about it, and I'll bring you right back. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put a patch in, but I'm not just gonna patch this little tiny thin area. I found a piece of sheet metal that'll work. And what I think we'll do is kind of come down this way a little bit and up this way a little bit. So what we need to do is go over to the vise. I've got the pipe clamped in there. We'll hammer this radius in right here, and then we'll shape it around the corner here, and then we'll figure out how big to make this thing. All right, we'll keep this super simple. We're just gonna hold it up here. That's looking pretty good. All right, I'm gonna go check it on the car, and we'll just keep massaging this till it lays down in there real nice. And then we'll start the bend this way, and then hold it up in there, figure out what to cut out, and match the patch to it. All right, let's see how it fits. Now obviously the transmission tunnel gets narrow at the bottom, so this will be angled down. But it's looking pretty good right there. We need to do some hammering because this is still kind of beat up. But that seems to be fitting pretty good. So I think what I want to do is kind of mark out, I'll just kind of lay out where this patch covers, and then we'll figure out how much we can cut out of here, and then we'll hold the patch back up and then cut the patch to fit that hole. But we're not looking too bad. Let me get this all lined out, and then we'll cut some of this crap out. All right guys, I changed my mind, so I went ahead and inked the car here, and I clamped the patch right in so I can squeeze that piece down. so everything's held in the right spot where it'll ultimately end up when we're all done, I hope. And I'm just going to scribe this, and then we'll cut it and we'll just fit up the patch. I think should work out all right. Let me clean all this up and start to fit it, and I'll bring you back. Okay guys, I got the patch lined up on these two planes right here, but this is still not the right shape. So what I did, I put the shifter hump in there. We spin around here, and then I'll show you that we've got a pretty good little gap right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep bending this with my fingers and just kind of pushing on it with my thumbs, and maybe hammering on it until this lays nice and flat up against the shifter hump. Then I know that the tunnel's the right shape, or if nothing else, it matches the shape of the shifter hump. So when we go to put this on, it'll fit up really nice. So I got to do that off camera. It's kind of hard to get in and out of here with the camera, but that's pretty simple to get that to bend and match that really, really nice. All right, we got the tunnel bent. It's rounded over so it matches this pretty good. I still have a clamp holding it so it's holding the right shape. And then this piece is a little long. I cut this short because I knew it would move. And now we have this fit in here like this. So what I'm going to do is try to hold that up in there and then rescribe this right here. If I can hold that still. Just like that. So what I'll do is I'll move everything out of the way. We'll cut that right there, and then we should be pretty close to getting this welded in. Okay, we have it fit in there pretty good, but it's a lot of angles going on here, so I'm having trouble getting it to line up. So I think what I'll do is kind of tack that corner and kind of just line it up along here and just keep putting tacks all the way down to here, and then we'll work down this way, and then we'll kind of hammer and force this in down here. I think we'll use the TIG welder so I can hammer those welds and make everything nice, because it is going to take some hammering once we're done. So if I use the MIG, they're kind of hard to hammer, so the TIG will make it that much easier. All right, let's get this welded up. All right, looks pretty good. I like it. Let's rotate it around, get this ground up, and I think we are just about done. All right, they came out pretty good. Let's go ahead and get the car flat and try to fit up that shifter hump. All right, I went ahead and trimmed that patch up and kind of cleaned some of this up a little bit. It's looking pretty good. Let's see how this shifter hump fits in here. So it wants to sit right there, and like I said earlier, I'm not exactly sure where it's going to go, but I have a good feeling that this is going to be the right spot. So it's fitting really nice along here. This needs to be tipped down. It's just roughly stamped, and it's fitting really good here. I still have to smooth out where that driveline banged into that, and it's fitting pretty good over here to right about here. Then it's good again. So I think I just need to hammer and dolly that out a little bit, and we've got a gap over here. So I'm just going to go do some hammering, and I think what we'll do is we'll work on this piece and the car at the same time and make them fit together, because this needs to be tipped over on this side to match that radius, because they didn't really do it. This should start rolling off. So I think what I'll do is just work on this a little bit and then work on the car to make it fit. All right, I'm going to take it over to the pipe and roll this over right here so it starts going downhill, because we're already past the apex on this curve. So I'm going to start right about here on this line and just roll that over. Yeah, it pushes down on there pretty nice. Fit pretty good along there. I need to tip that over a little bit, and we need to finish that off, and I think we are just about there. All right, let me finish this up. We'll take one final look at it, and I think we are just about done here. All right, I'm gonna call that good. It's worked out pretty nice. It smoothed out real nice there. And remember how bad that looked right here? I mean, it was horrible, but it looks really good now. So we got the patch in, got this reworked, and everything smoothed out. Some of this stuff doesn't really matter because once we fit on the shifter hump and it's fitting really good, you can see most of that's going to be cut off. So I'm not going to move any farther since we don't know the exact placement of this, but I'm telling you, it fits right there and it really likes it sitting right there. So we're not going to do any more fit up, but this thing is really close to being welded in. I think they just put some glue on these and screwed them in at the factory. So we're not going to do that. Of course, we're going to scribe it and weld it in all the way, but we'll do that later. I don't want to weld that in because we may need to modify that piece for that Tremec or possibly move it a little bit. So we're not going to jump the gun on that, even though I want to. We're going to wait. You got to have patience. Okay guys, that pretty much wraps up this video on fixing the transmission tunnel. I guess I wasted a lot of time getting this thing cleaned up, but I wanted it ready just in case, and we didn't really need it. We were able to hammer that out. My little palm nailer slash planishing hammer seemed to do the trick pretty good. I want to get one of those foot pedals. That thing really works good, but it's just out of control. That thing just goes off as soon as you push on it. So that's a future project. But we were able to repair almost everything that was already here, and all those hammer marks and all that stuff that was done to the poor car, we fixed. Just a small patch panel in there, and that shifter hump fits really nice. It's almost like a puzzle piece. Once you just jiggle it and push on there, it fits perfect. And like I said, I'd love to weld that thing in right now, but I know I should wait. It's a smart thing to do, so I'm gonna be smart for once. But really happy to get this done. That pretty much finishes off the floor pan. It doesn't pretty much, it does finish off the floor pan, so that is done. So now we're gonna move up to the top side. Just inch by inch, just make sure I didn't forget anything, and then we're gonna be able to jump in and start doing some metal conditioning and prepping for epoxy. Thanks for joining me here at Foothill Paint Fabrication. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Mash that bell so you get notifications every time I drop a new video, and drop me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. We'll see you on the next one.